Autumn Johnson for NCAA Digital, and I'm joined by South Carolina's legendary head coach, Dawn Staley. And coach, I mean, you're constantly growing the game of women's basketball in so many ways, cutting pieces of your championship net, giving it to other Black coaches. You started the Dawn Staley Challenge with your clutch shots, constant advocate. I could go on and on and on, but what does women's basketball versus everybody mean to you, and how does it fuel you every day to keep fighting for this game?
I think what we're finding and what I'm finding is, women's basketball is in high demand. I think we're a sport in which, if you invest in us, I think you can get return on your dollar to the 10th power. And I feel like I need to just continue to push our game forward, because we've had so many things that happened to our game, so many people that have just kind of held us down. Mm-hmm. And we need to be our own advocates. We need to talk about what's happening in our game, whether it's, and I've been a victim of this, which is, I just keep focused on what's happening in my world and with our team and our program. And that's a selfish way of doing things. After seeing all the inequities that have taken place over the decades, somebody has to speak out and continue to speak out. And the more that we do that, the more we can advance our game from inside out versus having someone on the outside having to do it for us, because we relied on that and it really hasn't happened. So I'm going to work the inside out as much as I can.
So I got to talk about a historic day that really grew the game overall for you. South Carolina just hosted College Game Day, and it's been 11 years since it's been on a women's basketball campus. That's special. I mean, nearly 900,000 viewers plus a packed house that you built. When you reflect on this day, I know you had to soak it in then, but now that we are moving forward, how do you reflect on this historic day when you look back?
Well, I mean, here's what I saw. I saw probably a week and a half prior to game day coming to South Carolina, they pushed it. I heard Aliyah Boston on men's basketball games. A lot of them, preceding game day being here on our campus. I heard it on every women's basketball game, and the results were there. So if you invest, that's just a week and a half of saying, hey, this is game day that's coming, something that's exclusively used to elevate men's basketball. But that's just a little snippet. Imagine if, we had our own college game day and it just floated around each, program that can sell a place out like we did. So it forced us to, we already bringing a lot of people to our game, but it forced our hand to continue to go on campus and around in our communities to say, hey, let's sell this place out. Let's make women's basketball look great on the biggest stage of college basketball when game day comes to visit.
I would love to see that. That would be special. And you all woke people up that this could be possible and make noise that it's very deserving. But while you continuously grow the game, South Carolina remains the number one team overall in the country, 11-0 against ranked teams. You played a stacked non-conference schedule. How does this schedule just prepare you all for the grind in March coming up?
Well, I think our schedule has prepared us to sit where we sit. We took on every challenge that we could have, probably except UConn the second time around, because we chose to cancel that game and just really concentrate on winning the regular season SEC championship, which we did, which is great. But we're not going to rest on our laurels and think our schedule is going to automatically make us jump over opponents that we're going to face in the next few days. We're going to play each game as it is, and we're going to be the team that created the habits of the first, I don't know, 28 games of the season. Hopefully we can be close to what that team looked like for the most part, the better part of it anyway, because there, it wasn't an easy thing, and we didn't make it look great every time we stepped out. We just grinded and found a way to win the game.
Yeah, that's because the SEC is a gauntlet, even the non-conference games you guys are playing, but the SEC specifically, as South Carolina heads into the tournament, what do you think about the state of the SEC now? Because you have teams like LSU on the rise, Tennessee. Tell me about that.
I mean, it's super competitive. Like when I signed up to come into the SEC after being at Temple for 8 years, this is what I wanted. I wanted to be in a competitive environment. I wanted to be pushed as a coach. I wanted that push to help me grow as a coach and to understand what it takes to have sustained success. And I know everybody wants to win national championships. There's only going to be one of them each year, but that shouldn't define how well you played all year long and the growth of the game and the growth of your program. And I think the SEC allows us to continue to grow as coaches, to grow our programs. You can look at other programs and see where they are. I mean, no one anticipated how our league fell, meaning, you got LSU at the number 2 seed. You got Ole Miss in there. It is from top to bottom. You got Kentucky, who was projected to be at the top. They're on a 7-game win streak. So it is, you got Vandy beating Tennessee when they were the number 1 seed. It's all of it. You got Missouri beating us out the gate. So that is the kind of competitive environment that we have night in and night out in the league. And there seriously, there are no days off. There are no easy games. You got, several new coaches who are adding to just being super competitive from top to bottom.
I want to talk about South Carolina specifically because you guys are deep, talented, and successful as a unit. But when you look at each individual player, they're dominating in their own individual position. Nearly everyone is on the watch list. What can you say about everyone's individual performance and how you've seen each player dominate their position?
Here's what it is. We are, we bring out the best in each other. I do feel like because of that challenge, you rise to the occasion. And I do feel like the SEC prepares you, and I've said this before, to win the national championship, but it also prepares you to be a national player of the year, to be, the top point guard in the country, to be the top shooting guard in the country, to be the top 4 guard. The 4 player in the country and the small forward. Because of how competitive we are, it brings out the best. And I really am super proud of our game. And I know I'm talking a lot about the SEC, but all across the country. Anissa Morrow from DePaul is having a tremendous year. Nalissa Smith, great year. These are Caitlin Clark. They're all having super fantastic years, and these young ladies make up the greater good of our game, and we need to know a lot more about what they're doing. And it's not just pushing through social media. We got to push with the national narrative of our game, so it makes it more valuable. We shouldn't have to lean heavily on one individual to hold up our game when we have so many talented young ladies that can hold their own with any narrative that you push.
I couldn't have said that any better myself. That's just a testament of how strong the NCAA is and the talent we're seeing come across this league continuously. But you mentioned National Player of the Year, so I have to talk about Aliyah Boston, a front runner. She set an SEC record in double doubles, passing LSU's Sylvia Fowles. But we see this dominant, consistent, two-way player on the court every single night. But what's something that we might not know about Aliyah Boston?
You probably know by now she's a much better dancer in her junior year than she was any other year. And we have to thank TikTok for that, because TikTok has actually advanced her dancing game. I'm proud of her because it was sketchy. You know, Aaliyah is the most positive person ever. Even when the circumstances deem you not saying anything positive, she always finds a positive way about spinning things. But we had to be just that. Her first 2 years here, when it came to her dancing and I don't even know if that was dancing. You know, the sudden movement of body limbs is probably what I would describe it as being.
And you probably rubbed off on her too, so you got to give yourself that. I see you out there too.
What can I say? But TikTok is the one. I haven't even mastered the dances on TikTok, so she's actually got me in that department.
Okay, well, hey, we got to see it one day. Y'all got to do like a TikTok or something together. But I'm always impressed with Aliyah Boston because, you know, despite all the noise and all like the hype and whatever it might be, like she's still competing every single night. Like, how have you seen her not only elevate her game, but just lock in, shut everything out, and tackle what's in front of her?
I mean, most great players have the uncanny ability to be mentally strong, like to lock in. You have a lock-in ability that, you know, separates you from other players. Aliyah Boston, and I know people, I mean, I just read something on social media yesterday. I think somebody was just taking a jab at her missing a layup at the Final Four. But those are the instances that really fuel her. She is one that goes back to the lab and works. She works on her total game, not just one part of it. And it's not very often you see a really, really good player develop in front of your very eyes. She's efficient from in the paint. She's efficient outside the paint. She's efficient outside the three. She's efficient in rebounding the basketball. She's efficient in defending ball screen action. She's just a really complete player that I mean, if you don't really have an appreciation for what she does, then you have blinders on.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself, Coach. But I just want to wrap up with this question, since we are finally in March. Women will get to compete under the March Madness brand for the first time this season. Like, this is going to be really special in history being made overall. But what impact do you think we'll see from this, and how do we keep that energy going and growing moving forward?
I mean, here's the thing: whether we have that tag or not, there's some great competitive games, some super talented young ladies that are going to be out there playing the game the same exciting way that we've been playing for years and years. But there are going to be a lot of eyes on that particular March Madness branding. And it is about branding. If we're able to be associated with the March Madness logo and branding, that means more eyes are going to be put on our game. And when there are more eyes put on our game, that means our game will continue to grow and be appreciated by the masses. I know we have a mass of people who really support women's basketball from day one, but there's an other side of women's basketball watchers who are skeptical. I think that could put the stamp on just solidifying our game into something that's a sport, like giving us that makes us a sport. For so many years, we haven't been treated like a sport. But now when you give us that, we're a sport, and we're a sport that will be a good bet to double down on. And I don't mean, the NCAA, I know they're coming with their tagline of don't bet on it and all of that. But at this time, we need to bet on women's basketball. We need to bet on ourselves and elevate our game to a place where we are, and I know we're revenue producing And that's why, that's why I am, that's why I'm wear the WBB gear, is because there aren't any companies just solely dedicated to women's basketball. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna support it because it's someone that owns it. And I, with the nudging of me, because all the people on my timeline, like, where can I buy women's basketball gear? Where can I? So I got this person to buy into it and to produce it, and I'm gonna pump it because it is something that's near and dear to my heart. And honestly, and she's shown me some of the people who have reached out to buy gear. We got coaches around this country that are supporting it, and I appreciate it. Coach Yo just bought about 25 hoodies for her team, and that's support. That's women supporting women, and the big picture is women supporting women's basketball, right, which is a great thing.
Right. Oh, I love it, Coach. I love everything that you're doing for women's basketball, sports in general, all walks of life. You are a huge impact and very inspiring to all. So thank you for your time. The journey starts today. We're hoping possibly South Carolina getting one of those trophies I see behind you down the stretch in March. Yes, but thank you so much, Coach, for your time.
Thank you, Autumn. I really appreciate it. Thank you.